Hello everyone. Today we'll be starting with the new experiment that is called as static and dynamic balancing of rotating masses. So basically, balancing is very much required for the rotating members. Why we need to balance any shaft is whenever we are manufacturing any component, if the masses are not evenly distributed during its rotation period, it will be under severe vibration. Because of this severe vibration, or because of this particular vibrations phenomena, what happens here is the body or the shaft will be under too much stress. So you know that whenever a vibration happens, so vibration is simply a cyclic loading which causes the body to have a flexural movement. Okay, because of that, what happens is every shaft, whenever it is in a unbalanced condition, it will tend to undergo a fatigue loading. Because of that fatigue loading, the failure of that particular component is at a very faster rate. So balancing is very much required is because in many of the applications, if you see, for example, if I take a fan and if I want to uh, check its what we call it as the functionality of that, so fan has to deliver the air at a proper velocity, as well as there should not be any noise. So if the fan blades are not balanced with respect to the shaft, what happens here is there is a lot of noise and vibration which is being created. So every rotating member has to be balanced before it is undergoing its functionality. Okay, so for that case we have taken a simple shaft here. This is a shaft. I need to balance this shaft. When I want to add a mass, or if I want to remove a mass, the masses has to be properly what we call it as has to be balanced about this particular shaft axis. Otherwise there will be an unbalance which will be done. So here what we are doing is we are trying to do two types of balancing. One is called as a static balancing, when the shaft is in a static condition whether the shaft is being balanced, and next is we need to check when it is in the operational period, or when it is in rotating period, whether it is properly balanced or not. Okay, so here what we are doing is, this is a particular shaft here. It is being hung to a structure here, and this is a total one structure, and this is being hung to a frame. So what happens here is, if there is a vibration happening in this particular system, if there is not unbalanced, there will be a lot of vibration in this particular frame. So this will indicate that there is a vibration and it is not been properly balanced. So in order to properly balance, we will be what we will doing is we will be adding some masses. Okay, at a these are the masses which we have taken for this shaft for mounting. It has been designed for this particular case. So here what we are doing is we will be adding these masses at a proper angles and at a proper distance. Because of that, what happens, the mass is properly balanced. Okay, so in order to know how to mount these masses, okay, what should be the angular orientation of this mass with respect to the previous masses, we will be initially doing an experimentation for that. Then what we are doing is we will try to calculate the forces as well as the couple generated because of this adding of the mass. Because what happens here is, when I add a mass to this, okay, when it is in a rotating period or in the rotation motion, what happens is centrifugal force is being generated. Okay, so in order to counterbalance that centrifugal force, another mass will be added for that. Okay, so basically what happens, if an unbalance is there in the particular shaft, that extra mass will generate that centrifugal force. That extra mass which is generating the centrifugal force try to push the shaft outwards. Because of that, there is a vibration which is happening. So here we will be adding these masses. So what happens here is, I have to add these masses in this particular shaft. Okay, in this particular shaft I have to add this mass. So when I am adding these masses, I have to know the orientation of these I have to know the orientation of these masses. Okay, I have to know the orientation of these masses. So where, at what location have to place it and all, I should know this. Like this the masses will be attached. Okay, so when the mass has been attached, I should know the orientation, whether it is to be at 30 degree, whether it is to be 40 degree, which you will be studying in your theoretical cases. Okay, so now what we are doing is, first initially we will be calculating a parameter called as MR values. Okay, MR values, that is mass into radius of velocity. So what will be the MR values for these particular masses? Okay, so directly we will not calculate the masses, we will calculate mass into the radius of rotation. Okay, for that case what we are doing is, we will be taking this as a pan here. So you can see here, this is a, okay, so this is a pan. So what we are doing is, we will be going on inserting single masses, okay, and then we will be go on adding the mass small balls here, which are the ball bearing balls. So these are the masses which will be adding on one tray, so that there is a deflection, that is angular deflection. If it is at 0 degree, we will try to lift it for 90 degree against the gravity, so that we can calculate directly the MR values. Okay, so what we are doing is, first we will mount this. Okay, okay, so now we have set one of the masses to 0 degree. So there is a circular graduation here, like 360 degree protractor is there. So the pointer is at 0 degree now. So what we are doing is, we will be adding these small balls into the pan until it makes a 90 degree rotation. Okay, until it makes a 90 degree rotation. So then we will first add them to the right of the pan, then we will add the same thing to the left of the pan, to average out the number of balls which are being taken to move that particular mass to 90 degree. Okay, so we will be adding them. So like this we have to just add it. So when you add it, the motion will happen slowly. Okay, so now it is 90 degree. Okay, so it has been now convert been displaced for an angle of 90 degree. So now we'll count how many number of balls have been taken to rotate that particular mass into 90 degree. Okay, so we have calculated how many number of balls are there. So for this particular angular rotation of 90 degree, where we were adding the masses to this particular pan, so we got nearly 82 on the right pan, not 82, it is 85. Okay, 85 we have got. So same thing what we will be doing is, we will be repeating this experiment until on the left side, so we will be getting the 90 degree rotation. So we will be adding them. Okay, when you add them, okay, so now it is being rotated by 90 degree. So we'll just count them, the masses. Okay, when we count them, Okay, so we have got 82 on the left pan. Okay, so we got 85 on the right pan and we have got 82 on the left pan. So we'll be averaging out. Okay, so if we average out this particular masses, what you will get? You will be getting nearly 83.5, or we can write it as 84. Okay, or we can write it as 84. Is it clear? So similarly, we will be repeating the same thing for the other three masses. So the other three masses are these three masses. Okay, for the other three masses, see here in the tabulation they have written block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, and we have an engraving on these masses, that which is number 1, which is number 2, and which is number 3 and 4. So this is the number 1 block which we have taken here. So the number 1 block, the masses are 82 and 85, the average you will be getting it as 84 here, and the similarly we will be repeating uh, the same process for the other three masses. So after that we will be writing the values of those number of masses. So I'll directly give the values for that. So now after doing the the masses, the process of adding the balls and checking the MR values, we have got the readings for all the 4 blocks here. So block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, 82, 85, 80, 82, 79, 80 and 72, 82. So if I do the average values, so you will be getting 84, 81, 80 and 77 values, 77. So these are called as MR values. So through these MR values, what we are exactly doing is, we'll take one of the mass as a reference. So for example, this is the mass. I'll be taking one of the mass as a reference. From these reference, I will be orienting the other three masses, their distances and their angular positions based on their force and couple polygon. So we'll be drawing the force and couple polygon based on the assumption, so that one of the mass I'll be keeping it as a reference. Okay, so that is 0 degree or 70 or any angle I'll be taking, I'll keeping it as a reference. Based on that reference, I'll be calculating what should be the distances these masses has to be placed and what should be the angular orientation with respect to the one of the reference masses should be through force and couple polygon. So which we'll be drawing now.
Hello students. Now coming to the calculation part of static and dynamic balancing. So for static balancing, there is no any calculations required as such, and the readings are already taken by performing the experiment. That is, we just have to take here the average number of steel balls in left and right pan. That is, when we insert the number of steel balls in the left and right pan, the system gets balanced. That is, when the shaft is not rotating, the system is getting balanced, and we call it as static balancing. So here we just take the average number of steel balls for different masses which are placed. When we come to the dynamic balancing, we need to have the force and couple polygon. So to obtain this force and couple polygon, here we need to do some assumptions. So the first assumption is that we will take the block 2 or the mass 2 as reference. So all other masses will be placed at a distance which we will get with the help of force and couple polygons, and they have to be mounted with respect to mass 2 at certain distance and the angles what we get now. And then we need to run the system, and we have to see that there are no any vibrations taking place in the system. So here, as we said, we consider M2 as the reference. L1 is the distance of mass 1. Okay, so L1 is the distance of mass 1 from the reference mass 2, and that we take it as 8 centimeters. So this is assumed initially. Here you can assume any value you want. So we have assumed here as 8 centimeter. You can even take it as 5 centimeter or 10 centimeter. So based on your assumption of L1 and theta 1 here, the remaining values will change. So ultimately we need to balance the system. So here we have assumed L1 as 8 centimeter and theta 1 is the angle made by the mass 1 as 70 degrees. So now with these two assumptions and the reference as mass 2, we'll start with the force polygon. So here you need to have your graph paper in hand. So on the graph paper we'll be drawing both the force and couple polygon. So this is your graph paper, which will be having 1 centimeter blocks. So here we take the scale as 1 centimeter is equal to 10 kg centimeter. Now what is this 10 kg centimeter? It is nothing but the unit of your MR value. It is mass into radius of the ball. So it comes as the kg centimeter. So here what we do is we start with, as I said, reference as M2. So we will take MR value for M2, that will be M2R2. How much we have got in the static balancing for M2R2? It is 81 kg centimeter over here. So what we do, 81 kg centimeter means what here? 1 centimeter is equal to 10 centimeter. So 81 kg will be equal to 8.1 centimeter. So here we draw a line of 8.1 centimeters. You can see here 1 centimeter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.1. So this is 8.1 centimeter we have drawn. So this will be M2R2, which is 81 kg centimeter. Next, we have assumed the angle as 70 degrees. So we draw the next vector, that is a force vector for M1R1 at an angle of 70 degrees with respect to the horizontal. So here we have this vector, which is M1R1, which is 84 kg centimeters at an angle of 70 degrees to the horizontal. Now we need to draw the other two force vectors, that is M3R3 and M4R4. We don't know its angle, we know only its distance. So from this point as the center with your compass, you have to draw an arc of radius over here, that is 8 centimeter. Okay, so this will be an radius of 8 centimeter, because over here we will have the force vector for M3R3. M4R4 will be from this point, and it is how much? 77 kg centimeter, so 7.7 centimeters. So from this point as the center, you draw an arc of 7.7 centimeters. So wherever these two arcs intersect, you draw this vector, which is M3R3 as 80 kg centimeter and M4R4, which is 77 kg centimeter. So now once you have drawn all these vectors, you have got now the force polygon. From force polygon, we need to measure the angle by which the masses will be placed. So we know that M1 will be placed at 70 degrees because this is what we have assumed. M2 will be at 0 degrees because that is the reference which will be kept at 0 degrees. M3 will be at 186 degrees. That is, when we measure this M3R3 vector with respect to horizontal here, it comes 186 degrees. Similarly, over here when we measure M4R4 with respect to horizontal, we get it as 248 degrees. So these angles you will get when you draw these force polygon on the graph paper. So here we will note them down. So from force polygon, theta 1 is 70 degrees, theta 2 is 0, theta 3 is 186 degrees, theta 4 is 248 degrees. Now these will be used in determining the couple polygon. So here we will be having only these lengths. The angles we will be using in the experimentation purpose when we check whether the system is dynamically balanced or no. For that we need these angles. These angles are not further used anywhere in the calculations. Now we will come to the couple polygon. So with the couple polygon we will get the distance by which the masses will be placed with respect to the M2, which is the reference mass. So we will take this force polygon, because couple polygons vectors will be parallel to the force polygon vector. So we need this couple polygon reference. So here, since L1 is assumed to be 8 cm, therefore M1 R1 into L1. So M1 R1 is how much? 84. So 84 into L1, which is assumed as 8 cm, when you multiply it, you get that as 672 kg centimeter square. Okay. Now here we apply a scale 100:1. That is 100 kg centimeter square is equal to 1 kg centimeter square in the couple polygon. So with this scale we will be drawing the couple polygon, and here since M1 R1 L1 is drawn at an angle of 70 degrees here, that is theta 1 will be equal to 70 degrees, which we have assumed. So here on the same graph paper, just below your force polygon, let the force polygon be on top and the couple polygon be below it. So here on the graph paper, what you need to do, for the couple polygon we take the scale as 1 centimeter is equal to 100 kg centimeter square. Okay. So we draw the first one, that is M1 R1 L1 parallel to this. We know its magnitude, which is 672 kg centimeter square. So when you apply the scale, it will come to 6.72 centimeters in the length. Next, we know the direction of M3 R3 L3, but magnitude is unknown. What will be its direction? It will be parallel to M3 R3. So M3 R3 L3 is drawn parallel to M3 R3. Again, M4 R4 L4 direction is known. It will be parallel to M4 R4 from this point, but magnitude is unknown. So we draw this M4 R4 L4 parallel to M4 R4 from the force polygon. So once we have drawn this, we will be measuring these lengths, and using those lengths we will be then obtaining the values for L3 and L4. So here now this is the couple polygon we have, and this will be taking as the reference. So from couple polygon, M2 R2 L2 is 0. Since L2 is 0, as M2 is taken as reference, so this term will become 0. Coming to M3 R3 L3, so if you see here, when I measure this M3 R3 L3, that is from this point to this point, the small distance over here, this comes as 0.7 centimeters. Okay, so I just write it here as 0.7 kg centimeter square, because we need to now apply the scale. So what is the scale over here? It is 100:1. So this value I multiply it by 100. So when I multiply it by 100, it will become what? 70 kg centimeter square. So from this we can get the value of L3, because M3 R3 is known, and that is 80. We have done it in the static balancing, so that will come in the denominator. So when you simplify this, this will come to 0.875 centimeters. So this means what? The mass 3 will be placed at a distance of 0.875 centimeters from Mars 2. Clear? And we know its angle, which we have already calculated, or we have found it in the force polygon. Similarly, M4R4L4, that is this length from this point to this point here, M4R4L4. So that is 7.1. So when you measure it with the scale, you will get it as 7.1 over here, and we write this as 7.1 kg centimeter square. Now here again we apply the scale. So what is the scale? This value will be multiplied by 100. So that will become 71 kg centimeter square. Sorry, here it will be 710, not 71, because when you multiply it by 100, it will be 710. So I just forgot to mention a 0 here. So just make that correction. It will be 710 kg centimeter square. Now L4 will be what? This divided by M4R4, and M4R4 is nothing but, we have already found it in the static balancing, it is 77. So 710 divided by 77 will give me 9.22 centimeters. So this means what here? The mass 4 will be at a distance of 9.22 centimeters from mass 2. Clear? So now here we have got the distance of mass 1, which we have assumed. Distance of mass 2 will be 0 because it is the reference. Mass 3 will be 0.875 centimeters and mass 4 will be 9.22 centimeters. The angles of these masses can be obtained from the force polygon. So with all these values, we mount the masses on the shaft and we run the system. So if our calculations are correct, if your force polygon is correct, if your couple polygon is correct, then there should be no vibrations in the system. The system will run very smoothly. So after this step, what you need to do is, you need to draw another table in which you need to mention the plane. The plane are nothing but the masses, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are in which plane? So those 4 planes, 4 masses. Next column will be your MR value, which you have calculated using the averages in the static balancing. Then distance from the reference planes, which you have obtained with the help of couple polygon. And then the couple, that is MRL value, which is also obtained from the couple polygon. So all these you need to note. Then you perform the experiment, and at the end you have to write down this result table. So again here these will be the masses, the blocks, then MR values, then the angle which you get from the force polygon, MRL value you will get from the couple polygon. Now with these angles, okay, and the lengths which you have measured from the couple polygon, these masses 1 to 4 you have to mount on the system, run the system to check whether the system has vibration or no. So next you are going to see the mounting of these masses and the running of the system, and you will see that when all these masses are mounted at these angles and the lengths from the reference mass, the system will not vibrate. So now you will see the next part of this experiment.
So after using the graph, we have found out the MR values, that is 84, 81, 80 and 77, and based on taking the second mass or the second plane as a reference, we have calculated what should be the distances for the other masses, that is 1, 3 and 4 from the second mass. These are the distances, that is it should be 80 mm away from the second mass, and the mass 3 has to be 8.75, mass 4 has to be 92.2 mm, and then the orientation of the masses has to be 70 degree. So first what we'll do is, we'll take second mass as a reference 0, and then with respect to that we'll go on changing the masses and then orientation, and then we'll be checking for the static balancing. After that we'll put a we'll connect it to a motor and then we'll check it for the dynamic balancing. So we have already done the setup here. So this is the second mass which we have kept. Okay, so we have made it exactly 0 here. Okay, and then based on this we have shifted the third mass, first mass and second mass, and we have given the orientation. So how I have to do is I have to just hold it to make it 0. Then with respect to this we will be go on changing the angle here like this, and then we will go on tightening it. Okay, so this, like this we will be orienting the masses. After orienting the masses we need to check for the static balancing. So how to check this for the static balancing is you have to give a tap for this. Okay, you have to give the tap for this, and the mass, whatever the mass is there, it has to come to rest as early as possible. Okay, so that will be the static balancing case. So here if you just check it, so 100% result will be when whenever I am giving a forward push, it should not go back. Okay, so because of this older shaft, there is a small delay in the mass, there is a small unbalance which is causing here. So like this, when I give a tap here, so it has to stop in this particular case only. It should not go back to the original position. Because of this equipment, as it is a bit older and the shaft is being used a lot here, so for that case there is a small lag in this particular masses. Okay, so there is a small unbalance which is causing here when it is coming back. Okay, so similarly you have to check for the dynamic balancing, where you have to put this welt here to the motor through the help of a pulley. Okay, and then you have to on the machine. So during, whenever you are owning the machine, there should not be any vibration. Okay, then it should be will be calling the system to be perfectly balanced. Okay, so if I on this, okay, so because of small unbalance, you can just observe that there is a small vibration which is causing here. Okay, so we will be running this test in this particular condition. So after the static analysis, we will go for the dynamic analysis. So what you have to do is you have to perform this experiment by putting the masses on the pans and checking the weights of the balls, number of balls, and through that whatever the calculation we have explained, you have to draw the graph, and then you have to find out the angles and as well as the distance, and you have to mount it on this particular shaft, the masses. Okay, so the masses number has been engraved on those particular blocks here, 1 2 3 4. Okay, based on that you have to just mount them and test for the balancing. Thank you.